Aquatic Monster Fish Keeper 19 on board. Giving y'all a quick update on baby hybrid. But this video today is about bloodworms. We're gonna talk about bloodworms. Bloodworms, when you go to the pet shop, the owners of the pet shop, the assistants at the pet shop, don't tell y'all how bad bloodworms actually is for your fish, okay? A lot of people go home, they buy these frozen bloodworms in these cubes and they feed them to their fish every day. First off, bloodworms cause constipation, okay? Constipation is where the fish is just bloated, all right? He can't digest the food, okay? So now you got a fish that it's doing good, it's gonna grow good, it's gonna look good, but in the long term, it's gonna have swim bladder problems, digestive problems, all kind of stuff, okay? That's why the fish grow so good to a certain size, then all of a sudden they just stop. Because the bloodworms are basically harming their digestive system, okay? First off, the casings that's around the bloodworm is like, how could I explain this? Okay, if we eat corn and our body digests corn, it comes out the way it went in. Our body can't break down corn, okay? So to a fish eating bloodworms, that casing is like a protective coating over the bloodworm to protect it from harm's way, okay? So that casing alone is hard for them to digest and break down. Look at them when they poop. You'll see a clear casing come out. That's the bloodworm, basically defense system, the coating over the bloodworm that the fish can't break down. The digestive system can't break it down. That's why it come out clear. Now the inside of the bloodworm, they able to digest that, okay? Another bad thing with bloodworms is that bloodworms thrive in polluted, dirty water, okay? If your filters are dirty, you got slow filtration going in your tank, then them bloodworms, if you feeding live bloodworms, they are gonna cultivate. They're gonna cultivate in them filters. They're gonna cultivate in the dirtiest part of the tank, which could be your rocks, your wood. So if you see little worms and stuff, that's them. Another thing about live bloodworms is that right now the scientists is studying the venom of a bloodworm. They bite. Live bloodworms bite. And if you feeding them to your fish and they biting your fish, they have it's basically like a defense mechanism. They bite and they bite is like a bee sting's venom, okay? The venom of a bloodworm it gives a reaction like a bee sting, okay? So you feed these live bloodworms to your fish, and if they bite them, they getting a reaction, allergic reaction from that bite. And it's like a bee sting. What if we get stung? It hurt. So if they eating them and they getting stung, we looking at it like, oh, they loving this, but at the same time, it's hurting. Then, not only that, bloodworms are bad because they go through 4 stages of their life. Okay, if I'm not mistaken, it's I would say, let me think. I'm gonna take a look because I got a little bit of this for. Okay, bloodworms go through from an egg to a larva, which is the actual bloodworm. A pupae, P-U-P-A-E. P-U-P-A-E. And then to adult. Okay. So we looking at this worm that goes through 4 stages, and once it hits its adulthood, it turns into a fly, almost looking like a mosquito. Okay, so now this bloodworm that's in your tank thriving and all that, and you don't know it's in there and it's living, and it didn't live for so long, you getting flies. And you wondering why. What are these flies? Why do they look like mosquitoes? Where are they coming from? How do I get rid of them? It's because the larvae from the bloodworm then survived in your tank for so long that it reached its adulthood and turned into a mosquito-looking bug. They don't bite. So they say. But they bite when they bloodworms. So if they bite when they bloodworms, you would think they bite when they turn to flies. Alright. We're going to turn another page on why bloodworms is so bad for your fish. Parasites. Okay. Now, you got people that freeze these bloodworms. You could buy them in bulk, live. You could buy them in bulk, frozen. Have you ever seen how small a bloodworm is? You talking a bunch of bloodworms. You cannot separate these bloodworms from the parasites. They're in there automatically. I bought some bloodworms one time in a little cup. And this one I wasn't experienced enough to know about bloodworms. I get them home. I get them in the tank. But before I put them in the tank, as I was pouring them, I noticed about 3 or 4 little things stuck to the side of the cup moving. So I'm like, what is that? They don't look like bloodworms. I get a pair of tweezers. I take them out. Guess what they are? Parasites. A mouth full of little things that suck, that latch on to the fish, and just, as the fish eat, it's eating. Whatever the fish eat, it's eating. And it's basically killing the fish. It's taking all the nutrients that it won't, and it survive on from it because it's surviving on its nutrients. So, bloodworms ain't good for your fish. They not. They say you're supposed to feed them to them once or twice a week. I wouldn't feed them to my fish, period. One thing about bloodworms, whether you freeze them or not, even if you freeze them and they got parasites in them, your fish just ate that froze parasite. Your fish just ate that froze parasite. And I guarantee you, if you go buy some frozen cubes of bloodworms, you will find some frozen parasites in them. I have, myself. That's not good. That's not good. What else not good is you growing a beautiful fish that love these so good, supposed to be bloodworms, and then all of a sudden one day they stop eating them. And you wondering why. My fish won't eat. They not eating the bloodworms no more. You know why? Because they constipated. They constipated. If you constipated, will you constantly eat? No. You don't blow your stomach up. What you think you doing to them? Swim bladder issues, digestive issues, just a whole line of problems that a person don't need in their aquarium. Okay? So, feeding bloodworms, they just not good to me. I wouldn't suggest it at all. At all. Because basically what you're doing is it's a touchy topic because everybody like bloodworms, but I'm here to tell y'all they not good. Period. Cause see, once your fish take on constipation, your water going, ammonia spikes, you got disease, parasites, you just wasting your money. Because like I say, you're gonna grow a nice fish, probably to a medium size before this fish start going through illnesses and issues. And you looking like what you do wrong. The first thing you did wrong was buying them bloodworms. The second thing you did wrong was not asking, or the pet store you're dealing with not telling you the issues behind using bloodworms. So I just wanted to break this down because Corey from Co-op Fish and Michael's Fish Room and all these people got these videos up biting packs of bloodworms like they delicious and everything, and they just so good for your fish. They not. They not. I'd rather take a gamble with my feeders because I treat my feeders. I put them through the quarantine stage for, I have tanks of feeders for months. But they quarantined, and they quarantined for months. So they safe to feed to them. Well, compared to a bloodworm pack, a frozen bloodworm, you just drop them in there, you just dropped a whole bunch of frozen parasites in there too, you fed to your fish. So I gamble with my feeder fish before I gamble with them bloodworms. Not only that, a large amount of bloodworms will turn your water funny color look. Like I say, spike your ammonia spikes up. So do your homework on these bloodworms and don't feed them to your fish every day. If you the type of person that just want to feed your fish bloodworms because they told you they good and all of that, don't feed them to them every day. Just feed them to them. I wouldn't even feed them to them once a week. I feed them to them once a month. Once a month. I wouldn't even do that because I couldn't see buying something that I know got parasites in it, rather frozen or alive, in my tank. Especially to thrive in my filters, in my gravel. Down the long run, your fish got worms, your glass got little white worms on them, moving around. It ain't good. It ain't good. These fish are healthy from pellets. Grinded up pellets. And look at that. I shot a video of them. They not even, I think these fish about 3 weeks old, close to a month. And when I got them, they was the size of my small baby man. Bloodworms will cause you a bunch of issues. If you're a breeder, like Mike say he is, breeders wouldn't use bloodworms. Some breeders do. Personally, me, I won't. Because bloodworms, if you trying to breed a fish, if it's getting all these problems, swim, bladder, parasites, all that, why would you try and breed that fish when they got so many problems it's finna face through its life? I don't know. If they get any type of worms, they'll get a night crawler. My night crawlers, when I come from fishing, I drop them in there. They full of nutrients. They ain't got a casing around them. And my fish has never caught a parasite from a night crawler. But I tell you this much, they have put them in good conditions enough to breed. So you messing up their reproductive systems, everything, when you feed them these bloodworms. See how big these fish got? In 3 weeks. Off pellets. Still ain't got no color to them. Barely getting some color. Don't look nothing like a red belly. A red belly's belly is red at this size. Way more colors. Not these hybrids. Pull up baby red belly video. And y'all tell me if they look like them. They don't. They don't. I already pulled one up and looked at it, and they don't look nothing like these. Even though I had this breed before, I didn't breed them before. Dude told me who I bought them from. You'll never get them to breed. They're hybrids. They're sterile. If you condition these fish the right way from while they babies on up and make sure they're healthy, they will breed. Hybrids or not. I've done it before. He was even shocked. He told me and one other person was the only 2 people who bred his breed before. I'm finna do it again. And I'm gonna cross them with that Caribbean now. So they really gonna be oddball fish. They already black piranhas mixed with red belly. Then it's gonna be crossed with a Caribbean. Come on, man. Come on. These fish got the characteristics of a diamond black piranha. The shape, the head, the body, the colors. But they mix with red bellies. But not to fall off the issue of this video. The issue of the video is bloodworms are basically bad for your fish. Don't use them. If y'all using them, try and wing them off of them to something else better. Just stop using bloodworms. It's Aquatic World, Monster Fish Keeper Mac 10, off board. I'm going to show y'all some good breeds. And I'm going to show you something else. You know what y'all looking at here? That's the female under the sponge. That's the male at the bottom. They are the same breed. Females are always bigger than males. Males' heads are narrow. Females' heads are wide. But y'all pull up that video on baby red belly piranhas. Tell me if they look like babies. Nope. These ain't got the colors that they should have. Aquatic World, Monster Fish Keeper Mac 10. Y'all have a good day. Be blessed. Don't use bloodworms. Peace.